In the world of Chicago drill rap, death is a language, trolling is currency, and survival isn't just a blessing, it's a reason to clap back. In May 2025, the murder of Munna Duke from O Block sparked more than tears. It reignited an all too familiar flame between longtime affiliates. And in a city where everyone claims to stand on business, the beef never really dies. Memo600, a polarizing figure from 600, didn't mourn, he mocked. His public trolling after Duke's death went viral. But this wasn't random, it was payback. But even for DJ Akademiks, known for laughing through the chaos, this moment made him pause. Is trolling a man after death really justified, even if he mocked you first? To Memo, it wasn't trolling, it was karma, a divine reaction from the streets. If someone plays with your life, you don't owe them peace when they lose theirs. The root of the drama, according to Memo, it wasn't gang politics, it wasn't money, it was a woman, one woman. And in Chicago, when pride and love collide, bodies drop. Then came the moment that changed the hierarchy. According to Memo, even King Von, the fallen prince of drill, had to check Munna Duke for trying to impress women. The internet didn't wait. Within days, the content machine kicked in. 16 Shotem posted a viral interview claiming Duke tried to kill Memo and shot another 600 member. Whether true or not, the story stuck. This wasn't just beef, this was betrayal. Brothers from the same tree now light matches at its roots. As bodies drop and internet views climb, one question still lingers. How did it all start? And when will it all finally stop? In the south side of Chicago, loyalty is everything, until it's not. For Memo600, what started as a shared legacy among brothers from 59th and 60th turned into betrayal, jealousy, and beef that spilled into the streets and onto the internet. Behind the scenes, it wasn't just bullets flying, it was egos clashing, narratives unraveling, and the real question became, what makes a man troll the dead, if not revenge for being betrayed by the living? It all came to a head when Memo was shot. Instead of silence or support, Munna Duke publicly laughed. Trolling, mocking, memes. For Memo, that wasn't just disrespect, it was betrayal. And when Duke later died, Memo returned the favor with a cold, unapologetic smirk. Tit for tat, or as Memo puts it, I'm just giving back what was thrown at me. But this beef didn't start with a bullet. It started with love, or too much of it. When Memo and his clique pulled up the Parkway, they were lit. New energy, new emotion, and that, he says, made some of the OGs uncomfortable. They was fanned out. They chicks was on us. They baby mamas was on us. It wasn't just envy, it was beef wrapped in brotherhood. Even now, the fractures have shown. Tay 600, now reborn as Tay Capone, is rebuilding his legacy on YouTube. Millions of views, honest commentary, and even some flowers. But Memo ain't forgetting. He remembers when they laughed at Tay's name, dragged him through the mud, discredited him, and now they salute. All of Tay Capone's successes to the world. Memo ain't bitter. He just calls it like he sees it. When asked who he trusts to save his life today, Memo doesn't hesitate. Strike, Dutch, Real, Mizzle, Rhino. But listen close. He never once says Von. Never once says Durk. That's not by accident. He says it himself. I've been to jail 1,000 times for clout. I call my mama, not my homies. That's not just pain, it's a confession. A man who no longer believes in the system of brotherhood because he's been failed by it too many times. Then comes the contradiction, the one that confuses even DJ U. Memo, who disses Duke and discredits Durk, keeps swearing on Von. He's still merchant on a man who many say wouldn't stand next to him if he were alive today. So what's real? Is it grief? Is it guilt? Or is it a subconscious plea for validation from the very system he claims to reject? In Chicago, survival isn't just about who has a gun. It's about who you trust to answer the phone. For Memo, that list is getting shorter. And so is the time before something or someone snaps again. When the cameras rolled, Memo600 didn't hold back. In a now infamous conversation, tensions simmered as he defended his name, his honor, and the people he still claims as family, even as the family seems to have disowned him. He got loud, animated, frustrated, especially when asked about the FBG D-Thang controversy. He insisted that before rap, before fame, Von, a close friend, was like a brother to him. That was love, that was loyalty. But when it came to Smirk and D-Thang circle, that didn't seem mutual. Memo expressed genuine pain, saying people were disrespecting Von's name, and that dissing a dead man's baby mama wasn't street, it was senseless. In his words, that's making her hurt more. This wasn't clout chasing, this was a broken alliance being exposed in real time. The conversation turned dark quickly. Memo was talking about money, hits, and how the next interview was gonna cost $20,000, or maybe even something worse. His voice was half serious, half provoked, but all emotion. Then the topic shifted. Duty Low had just been robbed in Atlanta, and somehow Quando Rondo's people popped up with his jewelry. Memo said what a lot of others wouldn't. Ain't no OTF vs 4K trade beef. That's made up for the internet. In his eyes, these weren't real wars. They were moments that went viral. But for people living in the A, especially those formerly tied to 600, being seen with certain people could still get you caught up in this imaginary war. Even Memo admitted this himself. In quotes, he said, "I got on $40,000 worth of jewelry and no gun." He said he loves Duty to death, called him a real brother, and insisted the incident was more about comfort than war, more about slipping, not beef. When asked about the war between camps, Memo rejected the term altogether. Ain't no war, we not killing them, they not killing us. He distanced himself from both BD and GD affiliations, said he was 600 to the death, but no longer part of BD or any label others try to put on him. That's when the real split came into focus. He spoke on how his family was GD, but his friends were BD, that he didn't claim either side and didn't care who got offended. He said folks like Duke had disrespected him, so the loyalty was dead. The pain in his voice wasn't just from betrayal, but from being misunderstood by his own circle. It was clear Memo wasn't just lashing out, he was unraveling years of tension between blood, set, and identity. He wasn't asking for love, he was demanding to be seen on his own terms. When the dust settled, Memo's message was raw and sobering. "I think on my own. I'm not beefing over 20 years off fake loyalty." He still respects Youngin, a member of the old crew, but doesn't flinch when saying F Duke and F the rest. It was a final act of rebellion, or maybe it was just a man finally cutting his ties that had already frayed. The next phase of Memo600's saga played out not on the streets, but on the internet. An appearance on DJU turned volatile, with tensions spilling over about old friends, street politics, and rumors that refused to die. Memo's interview on DJU was emotional and raw. DJU pressed him on why he continued to disrespect his fallen homie, Munna Duke. The response? A cold allegation. According to Memo, the beef wasn't about the block. It was about a woman. But what really pushed things past the point of no return was a shooting. Memo claimed that when he was shot, Munna Duke posted the news on social media before anyone else knew. Memo took that as a sign Duke knew something. Whether Duke was involved or just close to the ones who were, Memo never said outright. But he made one thing clear. He was going to keep trolling even after Duke's death. Chicago blogger Trench's News was one of the first to weigh in. In a live stream, he criticized Memo's decision to disrespect the dead and questioned the logic behind publicly taunting someone who is no longer alive to respond. In that same video, Trench's News claimed that the rift between Memo and Lil Durk went deeper than fans realized. He suggested that Durk not only distanced himself from Memo, but may have actively tried to shelve his career. The music game is a deep and dirty game with a lot of twists and turns and ways that people could put the screws to you. And what Trench's News was suggesting is that Lil Durk might have been doing this to Memo. According to Trench's News, Durk signed artists like Memo and others not to elevate them, but to neutralize the competition. He pointed to Timo, another rapper who fizzled out after signing to Durk, as evidence of a pattern. Now, none of this has been confirmed by Memo or Durk directly, but in the court of public opinion and the streets, rumors hit harder than facts. And in Chicago, that's all it takes to reignite old smoke. By 2023, the alliance between Memo600 and OTF was crumbling fast. What once felt like a family began to feel like a cage tightening around him. Lil Durk, once a brother and mentor, started to distance himself. Their bond, forged in Chicago's relentless streets, was now fractured, scarred by personal betrayal and public disrespect. At the heart of the rift was Munna Duke, a young OTF affiliate locked behind bars, fighting for his freedom. To many, Duke was family. To Memo, however, respect was in short supply. Memo openly disrespected Duke's name in interviews and on social media, mocking him while he was still locked up. That kind of disrespect wasn't just disrespectful, it was dangerous. As far as rumors go, and the word on the street and inside OTF circle was that Memo believed that Duke somehow betrayed the crew, maybe even leaked information about the shooting that put him behind bars. This suspicion tore apart what little trust remained. The family loyalty OTF prided itself on was shattered. Durk couldn't tolerate the drama. The once inseparable ties were now cut by cold silence. Memo found himself isolated, not only from OTF, but from the heart of Chicago's rap scene. Without OTF support and Durk's guidance, his rise stalled. The streets that once cheered now whispered doubts. The respect Memo lost for Munna Duke wasn't just a personal vendetta. It was the final fracture that cost him everything. In a city where loyalty is currency, Memo's choices left him bankrupt. Today, Memo600 is doing well. He's carved out a new lane for himself, far from the cold streets of Chicago that shaped him. But Atlanta isn't an easy escape. It's become a dangerous place for Chicago rappers trying to make their way, with rivalries and violence spilling across state lines. Memo's move wasn't just a change of scenery, it was a break from his past and from old ties that no longer held him. Still, success has come with a cost. Memo has publicly dissed some of his former closest allies, most notably Lil Durk, the man who put him on, who once had his back. Despite the fame and the money, Memo can't live with that betrayal, the bitterness that runs deep. He's built a new life, but the ghosts of Chicago and broken friendships still linger. In the world that Memo600 comes from, success can isolate you, and old wounds don't heal overnight.